All right, so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the town of Telluride, my somewhat brief visit to the town of Ophir, and we're going to chit chat a little bit about Silverton and also ouray. So, in one of my last videos, I talked about Silverton in not so kind words. I'm sure there's people out there that have a completely different point of view. I have to shed light on the fact that as a traveling person, I get to expose myself to a lot of quaint towns, okay, whether I like to or not. And a quaint town has a very specific quaint feel to it, okay, that's what makes it attractive to people. Silverton is a beast that has like two faces to it, okay? And I'm gonna compare it to ouray because I think it's relevant. As I've mentioned prior, ouray is like a perfect embodiment of what a town in the middle of like a mountain area should look like, right? It's very neat, it's very clean, it's very tidy. There's things for people to do, and ouray there's tons of stuff to do. Unfortunately, with me having broken my leg before the trip, I was so looking forward to doing the Via Ferrata in both Telluride and ouray. I'm somewhat recovered now. I still may. I don't know. Okay. All I know is that it's like its own thing, right? You have to dedicate. Whatever. ouray for being all of those things, right? Absolutely sucks when it comes to the gift stores. It is as if they have basically looked for every single foreclosure in the area and took their junk and decided to resell it. And all the gift stores in ouray, I kind of like, nah. And they wear that label with pride, if anything. It's very rare that I walk into a gift store and I don't find anything at all. Because there's always stuff for you to find. There's always a knick-knack or whatnot or a thingamajig that, and like in my house, I actually have an entire wall dedicated to all the little souvenirs that I pick up along my travels. Something that's meaningful. This I've picked up from, Honduras. This I've picked up from, my trip to Pennsylvania. This, so on and so forth. ouray, it disappointed me in that respect. There was nothing in there, nothing at all. Now Silverton, on the other hand, is all the things that ouray isn't. Okay. Silverton, if you step outside the main stretch, like literally just two steps in either direction, Silverton becomes a completely different, almost like a third world country. And I guess the best way I could describe it is, if you've ever been to the Eastern Bloc during like the Soviet era, or have seen movies about that kind of thing, it seems to me that Silverton is. They have literally, which is kind of ironic because, believe it or not, there's an actual house in Silverton on the main street that says that it belongs to some Russian princess or something like that. It seems like they've relocated those buildings from overseas and just plucked them here with no theme, no kind of anything, right? And the buildings are in complete disarray, they're falling apart. And I've already talked about all the garbage and stuff, right? But where Silverton excels over ouray is the fact that they have believe it or not, broken clock is right at least twice a day. They have, I kid you not, really nice gift stores. If you want to buy gifts in this neck of the woods, go to Silverton. Don't go to ouray. I've counted like 4 or 5 stores that I'm looking forward to returning to and actually picking something up. That's kind of, I guess it's only redeemable quality. Now, it's second redeemable quality by complete accident. I have been able to, and don't laugh, I've located cat litter for my cat. And if you have a cat, you know that cats are very fickle about cat litter. You can't just buy any cat litter, right? They're not gonna have it. So I had enough to last me for another couple of weeks, and I just picked up to basically last me for 6 weeks, right? Which is all good, meaning that I don't have to travel to Durango except for on the 4th. So, and the 20th. Because Durango is very far after all. So, okay, with that out of the way, the quintessential mountain village. If you ever wanted to just experience what that is, and I absolutely fell in love with it, like within just 2 seconds of arriving there. Ophir. Oh my God, what a incredible little place. It is just so quaint, so right in so many different ways. It's so to get there, you either have to be on the other side of the mountain range, like in Telluride, and then taking a drive over there. Or if you're on this side, you need to have a dedicated 4x4, high clearance, yada yada yada, and go through the pass, right? Ophir Pass. Once you get through the Ophir Pass, you'll find yourself, it's the most adorable little town. It doesn't have any stores, doesn't have any gift shops, doesn't have anything at all. It's just people's homes. But it is one of the coolest places you will ever find yourself. I was so shocked because I didn't want to go to Ophir in the first place. Like, my vision was to basically cross the pass and then turn around and go right back, right? But I'm like, well, it would be a good opportunity for me to go to Telluride. Wow. I was in for a treat. It's just such a wonderful, quaint little place. It's exactly how you picture a little town in the mountains need to look like, in every single sense of the way. The buildings, the people, the landscaping, the kind of just everything about it is just special. So, and I got to experience it twice because, obviously once on the way there and once on the way back. So from there, I have gone to Telluride. Okay. Telluride, think Moab, okay? And think how wonderful Moab is to the tourists by checking all the check boxes, right? Like in Moab, for example, they have a dedicated biking lane that goes for miles and miles and miles, right? They have the same thing in Telluride. Telluride also have an airport over there, right? You don't need to drive over there. You could just fly to Telluride. It has a whole bunch of stores. It has a whole bunch of gift shops. It has a whole bunch of bars. It has a whole bunch of, like, everything you could possibly want. And the main street is designed in such a way that, well, you're not going to be able to park. Right? That's a whole different conversation in itself. But, basically everything is there. Like, if you could find yourself a parking spot somewhere, you could walk and there's like everything you could possibly want. And if that was a coastal town, you would see people with beach chairs going to the beach. So in that sense, Telluride is just incredible. Now there's to die for hiking opportunities, mountain biking opportunities, When the trails are open, you have the Black Bear Pass. It's only one way to get there. There's also the Imogen Pass, which is both ways. You could also go visit the waterfalls. There's just so much to do. I mean, you could probably exhaust like at least 2 solid weeks of doing stuff every single day. Not to mention the Via Ferrata, which is equivalent of the one in Ouray. I was pleasantly surprised. Telluride is the kind of town that is not just a tourist trap. Okay, it's a place where people live. Like there's schools and other things like that. However, for checking every single checkbox. By the way, I almost got arrested in Telluride. I parked where there was no parking sign, and I was flying my drone. Now, I'm not sure what was going through the cop's head at the time. Whether he wanted to cite me or she, I never got to see them, to cite me for illegally parking, or for flying a drone, or for whatever. But they have stopped right next to me and basically gave me this stink eye. And at that particular moment, I was already like landing, so I guess they understood that I wasn't there for like. So they let one slide. But I don't know if you could fly in Telluride. I know there's an airport in there, but it's like way off that away. I don't know if there's any kind of ordinances in the city itself. I wasn't in the city. I was closer to the switchbacks, filming the waterfalls and stuff. All right, now back to the Telluride experience. For being such an interesting place to visit, Telluride is, I felt extremely unwelcome in Telluride. Now, it's no secret that Colorado's leanings as it pertains to subject matter of all kinds generally fall on the liberal blue, slanted all the way to the left as they could possibly get. And the entire Telluride, it was almost like it was an international convention for the lefties. Now, I make it no secret, I'm a Republican, I'm conservative, yada yada yada. I mean, not that it matters or anything like that for YouTube, but actually it doesn't matter because YouTube keeps shutting me down because of it. But there's a lot of things that I just don't want to be subjected to on my vacation, right? Because we're bombarded with all that information on the daily, on the news, on the internet, in the media, I'm on vacation, or I'm on a business trip, or I'm on, work trip, or I don't need to be exposed to that. But it doesn't stop them from rubbing it into people's faces. Now, picture Telluride, right? Think like 10-mile stretch, okay? Because Telluride is like that. I have counted 2 American flags and about 22,000 flags that were not American flags. All sorts of signage, all sorts of and like even the people that were there, you could just see, I mean, they were just having their own little dog and pony show. So if you are considering a trip to Telluride, be prepared for that. because they wear those labels proudly. They embrace that political spectrum to the fullest. And it's like right in the open. It's not even sort of like there in the background. No, it's up front. And as a matter of fact, when you first enter the town, there's big sign. I'm talking like 50 feet wide, followed by on every single pole, on every single corner, in every single store facade, in every single... It's just like, what? If it wasn't for that, I guess my experience in Telluride would have been a little bit more interesting. Now, I do plan to be in Telluride a couple more times. I do plan to do the Imogen Pass. And if I muster up courage to do the Black Bear... Well, let me rephrase. I am doing the Black Bear. But if I muster up enough courage to do the crazy part of Black Bear, I'm gonna find myself in Telluride again. And maybe if I go through the Ophir Pass again, I might find myself in Telluride. So I may be there for another 3 times. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it will redeem itself. Maybe in a couple of few weeks, things will change. I don't know. We'll see. But it's like a interesting tale of 3 towns. You have the Telluride, you have, well, 4 towns really, but, well, technically 3. Silverton, Ouray, and Telluride. Completely different in every single way. Now today, I had an opportunity to go and visit the Lake City. I never made it to Lake City. I had to abort my travel mission on Mineral Creek Road. It was way above my comfort level. I could have done it, but again, I don't have a spotter, and I just don't have the desire in me to constantly get in and out of the truck, trying to figure out where to drive. It's fairly rough. I don't know if it's like a gatekeeper type thing where, you know, it weeds off all the people that can't do it and all of a sudden it just becomes easier. But I just wasn't interested in doing it. I think I'm gonna return to it. I'd like to just do it separately without all that other stuff. But what I did do is I drove back, obviously, to the highway, and then drove to a trail which I've already done under horrible weather conditions, and basically caught up with the engineer pass, doing this horrendously long detour. Oh my gosh. I think I may have easily made like a 30-mile detour. But whatever. I did get to see the engineer pass. Weather again. This weather here, I mean, seriously. Wind, hail, snow, sleet, rain, sun, all like in the same area. It's so crazy. Like, it's just, and you know, the clouds roll in, the clouds disappear. It's so weird just to be in those conditions. But my goal is to maybe next weekend to actually do engineer pass through the Animas Forks trail, which starts from Silverton and goes there, and then do the Cinnamon Pass, I believe it's called. Maybe even like on the same, you know, like one day do engineer and then cinnamon, and the other day do like a cinnamon and then engineer. That way I could get them out of my system and just, you know, decide on whether I want to revisit them or not. Based on my personal experience of engineer pass today, I don't know if it was worth it. And the reason why I'd say that is because without driving too far from where I am right now, I could experience wow, right? To go to Engineering Pass and the Lake City, that's a very long road, and it has to be absolutely worth it. But based on what I've seen, to go from the Animas Forks, which is a famous area in the mountains, to basically top of the Engineering Pass, I would rate it like a C. A C, I think. Now, they call that area alpine tundra, which you might expect to be void of vegetation and all this other stuff. And so all the beauty that you saw prior to getting there just magically disappears. But once you're on top of the mountain, you get 360-degree views, peaks, and all this other stuff. So maybe on that merit, it's worth it. But the actual drive, it's rutted out, it's bumpy. There's hordes and hordes of jeepers over there going up and down the mountain. There's hordes and hordes of people in side-by-sides going up and down the mountain. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just that when you have to let through like 55 of them, it becomes annoying, if you know what I mean. So, keep that in mind. But I still intend to do all those things. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, I might add, the areas which are right next to my campground are closed, period. They had some sort of wildfire that has ravaged that whole area. They call it ice fire. And because of it, I am not able to go off-roading at the Clear Lake, or not off-roading, but drive to Clear Lake. I'm not able to go camping in the campgrounds that are over there. There is one in there, but it's packed, and there's no internet, so I'm guessing the furthest ones are in the same boat. And the wonderful hikes that I plan to do over there, I can't do either. Basically, they said that it was going to be closed well into October or something like that. So, I'm going to have to see. And now, I've been making use of this weirdness in somewhat creative ways. So, I film everything all the time religiously. And as you see, even in the time that I'm talking to you, the sun goes in, the sun goes out, the light conditions change. So what I'm doing is I'm exploring all those trails. I'm precision targeting areas where I want film based on the weather conditions and the light conditions at the time. If I'm like passing by and all of a sudden the sun comes out, I immediately stop and film something somewhere, because I know for a fact that sun is a rare commodity up in here. So I've been filming like segments of places, even if I'm driving there multiple times. Every single time I, film a different segment and a different segment. Not necessarily in order, but as things go. Because that way I'm able to make use of available daylight. Because for videography, like if I pan around this way, right, this over here seems like, oh, look at that, right, so pretty, right? This is what it looks like on camera, right? Not so pretty, huh? So that's just how it goes. I guess by time everything's said and done, I'm gonna hit every single trail like at least 3 times or so. So we'll see. We'll see. But with that being said, I think it's time to wrap things up, and I think that's it for the updates. Every single day it's been either working and then off-roading, or off-roading on a weekend. So that's just kind of how things are.